Lobster Magnet. Lobster's a 10 on you, don't you grab it.
Welcome to Lobster Magnet's Review, the channel to review. I am here solo to do a review of Attack on Titan Chapter 96. Now, for this review, I'm probably just going to have like some random AMVs with Attack on Titan music in the background as I continue to work on my solo format. I think that Game of Thrones one was okay, where I had like the images, so I didn't, get hit with copyright notices, which was a bitch. And I think I can get away with it with just, giving you music video crap, AMV crap, with just cool action scenes that cut enough that I will hopefully not have enough trouble with it. So basically this chapter kind of sucked. It sucked major balls. It was a complete fucking waste of time. I was kind of pissed. Like, is there anyone out there who, like, absolutely needed to have the backstory of how Reiner got into the wall and what was, like, the process of, him getting with the other warriors in terms of how they broke into, Mall Maria and their, like, behind-the-scenes investigation? I don't think that was a story anyone was really dying for. It felt like something like, they have a whole bunch of these, like, fucking light novel things, like Attack on Titan, Lost Girls, Attack on Titan, Before the Fall, these sort of, like, light novel adaptations that tell side stories. There's like one that talks about 100 years in the past about the guy who's the first person to use and develop three-dimensional movement gear, and then there's another one which is just like, I guess, slice of life shit with Annie and Mikasa. And of course, these are just basically like really expensive professional fan fiction because they can't reveal any of the rules, and there's like part of me that's like borderline curious about them in the sense that Hajime Ishiyama, yeah, that's the Attack on Titan guy. If he gives these are the things you can do, these are the things you cannot do, given his big reveal about Marley and the nature of the Titans and the nature of the universe itself with fucking Jews versus Nazi Germany and the not so subtle political subtext, I'd like to think that he would enforce some strict publishing guidelines, or tells you what you can and cannot do, given the fact that how much mystery there is, and you can't get too close to revealing that mystery, or doing things that tie into it. That's something I would love to know about, in terms of how much editorial control goes into all the external media. Obviously, something like that, Attack on Middle School, doesn't matter for shit for that, since that's just all basically gaggy crap. But for the main series stuff, is there some sort of more strict guidelines to ensure that the spoilers and conflicting material? But anyway, the reason why I get into that, a little digression, is the fact that this chapter felt like one of those ancillary materials, this is Reiner's story, and then we learn about Reiner, and I guess if you're a Reiner fan, oh man, you must be a pig and slop at this point, just in hog heaven with all the Reiner backstory. The one kind of creepy effective moment is the point where Annie flips out and beats the shit out of Reiner, and then Reiner puts her in her chokehold, and he's like, you know what, if you need me, Reiner is dead, if you need me to become Marcel, I will be Marcel. And he sort of takes on a leadership role, because the idea of him going back to failing in his expedition because he's holding on to this faded dream that his parents will get back together even though his father fucking hates him. I guess you'd say that's the most powerful material about it, and that you learn a little bit more about his, split psychology, but we've gotten enough of that, we're not really getting anything new at this point. This was not a story that needed to be wasted on the main narrative, and it's not really pushing things forward. Just them, seeing it from their perspective, and how did they get to amidst, there's something that's, vaguely interesting in terms of, this is, the good old Reiner and his crew, how did they plan attacking Wall Maria, I think. What was their game plan? And they just get there and they're tired as hell, and it's less a coordinated effort. It's more oh god, we gotta get in, and we've brought a shit ton of Titans behind us, which wasn't some sort of great military strategy. It was just sort of desperation, which is kind of interesting, and the fact that the Smiling Titan, aka Dina Fritz, almost ate Bertolt. But, this chapter just kind of felt like it was, kind of treading wheels, and it was like 40 pages of nothing that didn't really move anything forward, and felt like it was a huge waste of time. Like, this did not do anything to progress the storyline. This did not take us any further to where we needed to be, and it was stupid. It was a waste of time, and it's like, alright, let's meet the Tibber family. Let's learn about the Warhammer Titan. Let's see why they're such a big deal. I would have much rather seen that than like this unnecessary flashback. And everyone's doing all these crazy rumors where they think that like Attack on Titan's going to end at chapter 108 or something. I haven't heard anything that like founds that. But like when things are like going as slow with like shitty chapters that accomplish nothing, like this one, then I can't see how it would end so abruptly, given how many like wheels at play there are in terms of the storyline. I can't see it ending in like 12 chapters. There's no way I can see everything wrapping up. But everyone seems to think so because like if it 107 or 108 would like tie into like the first chapter where it's like 2,000 years in the future or something. There's some sort of logic to it, but I cannot see it being resolved. Like, there's just too much stuff in the play. Even if, like, the Waldians, the Jews, were to, like, launching an all-out attack against Marley, I can't see that something being resolved very quickly, given the fact that, like, Marley is a huge sprawling nation with an incredible military. And plus then there's the Chekhov's gun of, like, the, super wall titans. When are those going to get deployed? Who's going to let those loose? They're going to do something at some point, and who knows, maybe this will, we'll see the warriors united with the Waldians in an attempt to save the world from the wall titans, and that'll be, like, the final arc. Yeah, so, like, it just felt like wheel spinning and kind of a huge waste of time, and it pissed me off. It really pissed me off. Like, these are the worst chapters of Attack on Titan when, like, nothing happens, and you're just, like, kind of, like, twiddling your thumbs, and we don't really gain any new information, and, like, given the fact that we've got, like, the mounting Chekhov's gun of the Wall Titans, we've got the, question of, like, what have the, Eldians been up to in Paradis? What are they doing with, like, Armin's Colossal Titan? What are they doing with all the technological revolutions now that they're free from the Reese's family control? Let's see some resolution. Let's see some shit going down. And there's also like the subtext that like the Titans are going to be completely supplanted by modern technology, and I feel like that kills a lot of the fantasy of the series. But my guess is like I think the next eventual chapter we'll meet the Tibber family. We'll get staged for like the Waldian assault. And also there's a question of like, are we actually gonna get to see like the new warrior candidates inherit their new roles? Because in some ways, you're curious. Oh, what does the armored titan look like when Gabby's using it? And, everyone. It's funny. Like I go on Reddit and everyone like hates Gabby, even though she's like designed to be like the ultimate kind of like basically female Eren. Hajime Ishiyama basically drew a sketch of what female Eren would look like, and it looks exactly like Gabby. So Gabby is basically a female version of Eren, and that's very deliberate. I'm sure that she's going to have him meet him at some point through some manner. But like they keep on saying that like Zeke and Reiner at least have like 1 year left of like Titan service before they have to like pass it on. So are we actually going to see the next warriors get their Titan powers, or are we going to see like Zeke and Reiner and the current generation of warriors like finish up some last business, and then we won't get to see like the new warriors get it? Because like it feels like if things are kind of resolving, then it feels like that's something we wouldn't see. But then again, what's the point of like introducing these new warriors other than to give us a idea of how does Jewish culture exist under Marleyan rule? So yeah, just I hate this chapter. I really hate it. I thought it was a waste of time. I want things to move forward. I'm even having like trouble discussing it because we don't get any new interesting information. We just sort of get more like Reiner character development, and oh, Annie doesn't think she's sexy enough to seduce someone. Bertolt's like, oh, Annie, I think you're really sexy because I have a crush on you. Yeah. And we get a little bit more insight in how Reiner became like the big warrior soldier leader guy, because obviously he wasn't in such great standing originally. But, you know, it sucked. You know, I give this chapter 4? Nah, I'll be generous. 5 out of 10. It's definitely like a wheel spinning, and the worst kind of boring wheel spinning when nothing fucking happens and it feels like a complete waste of time. It's like, uh-oh, looks like I have to wait till September before something good happens. So yeah, this chapter blew. Fuck this chapter. Let's get on to the next one and, like, see something interesting. Learn more about the Tibber family, or... Oh God, I would have preferred watching Peak walk around on all fours for a few pages than, you know, seeing basically a story we already know about from the other person's side, which just basically does nothing. It was a waste of fucking time. I hate it. I hate it so much. So anyway, I'm gonna plug, buy some Reiner merchandise, Armored Titan. I'm just gonna link it up above. Buy that shit. There'll be a link down below. If you don't want Reiner merchandise because you don't like Reiner as the self-hating Jew, then get something you do like. So again, thank you for watching this video and hearing my disappointed commentary on the latest chapter. Like, comment, subscribe. Didn't have much to say about this one because I was disappointed about it. Yeah, that's all I got. So remember, lobsters and tennis, don't you grab it.
Magnets made of iron, lobsters made of meat.